Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ModzvilleUSA here again with another video. And today we're going to be doing something very special in honor of the recent 25th anniversary of the Nintendo 64. Cranking out some videos. I love this system, and I really love my jungle green here. But what I really love is that I got my hands on whoa, the brand new N64Digital by Dan Kuntz, Black Dog Tech, Pixel FX now. Let me know in the comments why they have so many names for their company, why it's so all over the place. I don't know the deal there, but what I do know is they make amazing products, and I stand behind them. Hopefully they come out with a PS2 ODE eventually, maybe the PS2 digital. I'm less hyped on that. I really want to see them come out with an original Xbox solution, so we can go ahead and give them our money instead of make MHZ. Got 'em. Very nice. Whew, nice and simple. You don't need to peel it apart like you do with the UltraHDMI. I did my very first UltraHDMI recently, and I'll show some pictures. Hopefully I remember pop somewhere up here of that install, and this install is going to be very similar to that. The one thing I truly hated about the UltraHDMI is that right around here where we see these test pads, let's get a nice shot of that. We got these test pads on this guy. On the other one, those were ribbon cables that came off and soldered directly to the legs of chips, which I found to be unnecessarily annoying, and frankly it pissed me off, and I ended up just snipping them, and luckily they had test pads, otherwise I wouldn't have snipped them, but they did have test pads as well on those. Then I just wired it up to the test pad. Much simpler, and in my opinion more elegant solution anyway. And we're going to be doing this the old, not the old-fashioned way, the new-fangled way. I went ahead and grabbed some 3D printed products from Laser Bear. We got a very solidly built region-free cartridge slot, so we can chuck our Japanese carts in here, no problem, easy peasy. We also got the no-cut solution here, so we can we don't need to slice up our shell. And I must say, this is pretty damn close, man. This is pretty damn close in color to the original console, so that is rad. Last but not least, we got this little riser piece, and this piece is what our board is going to sit on. It's going to elevate it up a little bit so we can works in tandem with this guy, because otherwise you cut the shell slightly below the line if you don't have one of these. So I'm looking forward to not hacking up the shell at all. Keep this intact. And overall, this should be a relatively simple job, at least for me or anyone who's done any kind of these HDMI kit ribbon cable installs. They're not too bad. They can be. I would say the PS1Digital is still... I did it once. I'm proud of myself. It's not something I care to do all the time. If that's something you're interested in, hit up, I would hit up Voltar or Pink Skeleton Gaming. I think their turnaround is probably quite a bit quicker. iFix Retro does it all the time. And, you know, it's something I can do. It's just not something I want to do. I did it. I'm proud of myself. And that'll be that. So yeah, let's pull it out here. We're just gonna get into this. We're gonna pop this open. And I'm gonna take you along for the ride here. Okay, we're in. No, I really need to magnetize this screwdriver. That didn't need to be as shitty as it was, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and find the one screw that hit the floor, and I'll be right back. Got him. Alright, cool. So we're just gonna disassemble this bad boy. Now, not every screw in this son of a bitch needs a good old-fashioned removal, but a lot of them do. Majority of the ones you don't need to worry about are here on the this big heatsink. Those screw in like metal blocks with thermal pads attached for the various ICs on this board here. So you don't gotta worry about them all. Let me know in the comments. See this LED here? Let me know what you think would be if there's a cooler color. I wouldn't say green. I don't like going. I like having accents here and there. Probably not blue either. I'm trying to think. The more I think about it, the more I like red. I'm just coming in here. A lot of folks like using power drills to remove lots of screws. I can't be fucked. This is fine. I like doing everything by hand. I do have 16 GameCubes to work on in the near future, though, so I have a feeling I'm gonna charge up the old drill for that one, because there's so many screws in a GameCube. It's almost blasphemous. Now let's see, did I miss anything? So I missed 1, 2, and then there's 2 little guys that are really easy to miss right here. We're gonna need a smaller, much smaller gauge for that. All right, there we go. Oh, these guys are skinny and long. As always, make sure you got the right size Phillip head. You don't want to go stripping screws. That'll make your job a whole lot harder. Now, I believe If this is anything like the other one I had to do, I believe the metal shielding stays out. I am not certain of that yet. But for now, I'm going to put this aside. Stay mindful of these little copper doodads here. You'll find those in Super Nintendos as well. Lock in whatever extensions you may need. You get your hands on a what's it called? 64DD. Okay. So here's this hot boy. See how this works. This seems to be. This is the way. Now I'm not seeing, and I'm really hoping I didn't lose the RGB attachment, because obviously that would I don't see myself using it much. And in case I forgot to mention, if you're doing the no cut mod like I am, you completely lose access to like dual outputs. So that is like the one big why you may want to not go with a no cut mod is if you intend to display it digitally, like one place, like capture it over HDMI, but play on a CRT, like if you're streaming or something like that. Huge reason to want to hold on to it. But as for me, I don't ever see myself needing that. I want to hold on to the original one. In the event that scenario sounds good to me, I might fucking come back in here and drop this down a level, shave the shell. But for now, I really don't care about dual analog and digital outputs at the same time. If I want analog, I'll do analog. If I want digital, I'll do digital. If I want two outputs, I'll get an HDMI splitter. Alright, so that's where it needs to be. I want to see if I can find that DAC cable, and we'll take it from there. Okay, guys. So just real quick, if you're rocking a C22 or CPU 1 through CPU 4 motherboard, first off, you should probably just be installing a generic RGB board, and then get a more intense board for something like this. But if you do have one of those, you're going to need to remove the following two capacitors for setting up RGB like this. So C22 and this resistor right next to it. They're highlighted in yellow. Get that done and carry on. If you're on a CPU 5 through or higher, I'm on a CPU 8. You don't need to worry about it. So not worrying about it is precisely what I want to do. And here we are. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this crap over with here. So here is the flex cable for analog setup. You got 6 pins. You're gonna want to make sure to read, and you'll see text on the side saying this side up. As you can see, solder this side up, and it goes towards the edge of the board. Needs to okay, well, that used to be a friend of mine, but now they're blocked forever, and I'm gonna be sending them anthrax. I'm just kidding. I just put my phone on silent. Okay, so that's pretty good. I got my finger in a rough spot. I just want to get this right. I don't have much solder on my tip, but that doesn't matter. I really just want to, all I'm trying to do here is lock this bitch down. Let's go right here. Let's go right here. Okay, great. Now that's not soldered on there very well at all, but it is tacked in, locked into place. And we're just going to come in here. And the more I do these videos, the more I'm getting used to looking at the actual camera here, as opposed to I would set the camera up and, you know, business as usual, but then find out that, you know, my stupid face would be blocking shots and all of that. So bear with me as I continue to get better at this. And let me mention now too, I got my iron set to 350 Celsius. I wouldn't go any higher than that. These ribbon cables kind of have a bit of a threshold as to what's tolerable and what's not. And too high, you're gonna melt these fuckers. I think I'm right there at the upper end. I think 330 Celsius. That's as high as you want to go. And since I am a sucker for tacky flux, the gooey stuff. This is no clean tacky flux, but it's still, you know, it's unpleasant to leave it on there, especially if someday someone else has to come in and they get their hands all sticky. So even if you're using no clean tacky flux, I still think it's good practice to clean it up with some IPA. And what I've been using here, boom, Amtech Advanced SMT Solder Products, NC559 ASM. The shit rules. I got turned on to it by Louis Rossman. You may know of him as the Mac guy on YouTube. He's you know, he solders amine stuff. He's like super racist, but you know, you can't win them all. And I'm just kidding. Louis Rossman, if you're watching this, don't sue me. I don't think you're racist. I just have a dry sense of humor. Okay. Yeah, that looks beautiful to me, dudes. I like those joints so far. You know what? I think that top one there. That top one be a bit better. Yeah, that's a good joint. Okay, guys, on to the next matter of business. Okay, and just real quick, we're going to want to do a little crease here. Not a full bend, it says, but a little crease. And I think this is a very nice, beautiful touch, guys. Mwah! Mwah! Black Dog, Pixel, Dan Kuntz, whoever you are this week. I like this. The little lines here telling you where the folds go. That's a, you know, it's the little things in life that really tickle my fancy. Make me a happy camper. And I like it. Okay, it's got a little... Jesus, my throat. Still got a little bit of give, gang. I didn't full hard crease it, get it nice and stiff, but that's the way she's going. Just fold her on the dotted line. Get it kind of manipulated. Let us carry on. All right, boys and girls, ladies, and other people. This is the part that separates the men and the whatever. This might be challenging, is what I'm saying. Got to be careful with my pronouns these days. Let's see. So here, we're gonna come in hot. Now, if you know me, and you've already been watching the video, so you know well enough, I like to use that kind of flux. I like to use the paste. But for the sake of visuals here, I'm going to give it a shot. At least getting it locked in here with some no clean. I've got this, what I believe to be Kester 951 no clean flux. Could be anything though. I mean, I bought it off somebody who repackages this stuff. Could be booger juice for all I know, but we're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna lock it in, and then I'm gonna come in and do a better job with the paste and just get some beefier joints. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this corner pin here on the left, that is going to be soldered to the 6th pin, and there's a dot here every 5 pins, which is a very nice treat. So coming from the left to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, you see that dot right underneath it, and just to the right of that dot, that's where we're gonna lock in. So you don't want these to go above the you don't want these going above the pins. You want it flush against the board. And you see these little clips here on the ribbon cable? Those clips kind of sit underneath the pin. So I've got my soldering iron. I'm going to completely clean it up using my whatever the hell you call that, soldering iron wire cleaner, whatever. I want to dump some of this on here right now. Go nice and liberal. There's no clean. It evaporates very quickly. And okay. And I'm using my chisel tip. And I kind of I don't drag solder these at all. I'm just going to kind of tack it in. Kind of paint it down like that. That's good. Go. Okay. Let's see where we're at. See. Okay, yeah, it's tacked in. Now I want to come in with a tweezer. I'm not going to use really any force at all. Just want to make sure this guy's flush. Simply don't want to burn my hand here. Okay. Going pin to the pad, pin to the pad. Now this, obviously this isn't fully connected yet, but at this point it's on there. It's attached, and I'm just gonna add just a little bead of solder here. You see what I've done? Now I'm gonna come in here where I'm a bit more comfortable. Honestly, none of this is comfortable because I'm looking to the right at a camera, but it's a fairly nice shot, so that's helping. So I'm coming in with my paste flux, which I just like so much more. And basically the idea here is I'm going to basically just swipe from the pins on the chip itself down to the pads. That's how I like to do these. Okay. Now I want to clean this up and get in there with my eyes because the depth perception here is a little strange. So I want to come in, pretty much the same technique, do this, get in there with my eyes, do this a little bit better, and show you the end result. Okay, I feel it's in a good spot. I had to move the lighting around because the glare was making it look like a lot of things were bridged that were not. So let's see if I can move this around here. And if you're curious what's going on in this area, there's no pad for that. That doesn't connect at all. So that will look a little off to the layman there who isn't aware. But yeah, let's put up some pictures. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter too, because you'll get a heads up of the shit I'm working on way before YouTube, just because the nature of it. Twitter, it's click clack. Same with Instagram stories, YouTube videos. That's it's a major investment. Even if it seems like I'm just dicking around here, it's the editing, the rendering, the patience of sitting there, descriptions and tags and all of that. I do love it, but it takes a while. I'm not the quartering over here, pooping videos out every day. It takes a bit of time to do these things. So that's the hardest part out of the way. So let's carry on to the next little bit. Okay, so the lighting and the glare isn't doing much favors here, but I can confirm everything is looking quite good. And I took my multimeter. I recommend you do the same and just come in, tap one pin here. So I'm tapping the far left one and check with the next one here. A little bit easier to do it at the top of the pin, or you can get in there and touch it. And just make sure, just go across, make sure there's no beeps. If you got a beep, then you got a bridge. So yeah, just use continuity. Test adjacent pins. and make sure you got no beeps. If you got no beeps, it's safe to move on. Also, make sure these guys are still intact, and be very careful when you're working, that you don't Mr. Magoo hands it and knock one of these right off the ribbon cable, because that would be a bummer. You'd have to solder it back on. But let's carry on, gang. Okay, now next up we are going to be soldering from these pads here, which we'll do second. We'll connect over here first. So we're going to be hooking up the different things for in-game reset, the OSD, etc. I believe it's 3 wires, but there's 2 different orientations. So we're going to take a look at the document here, and we're going to want to focus in on this chip. I'm going to go ahead and flip the orientation to match the written instructions, and this will help to decide which revision motherboard you have and which points you are going to be soldering to. So take a mental note of the orientation of this chip, this clock, this oscillator, this chip here. So let's go over to the written instructions. And here we go. So earlier models, the orientation is going to look like this. As you can see, this oscillator parallels this chip, whereas on mine it's horizontal. And I also have this guy here. So there's 2 different, completely different orientations. So if yours looks like this, you want to go ahead, click this, and wire up. Let's see how they got this. So would have been nice. I'd go through, dudes, and go ahead and highlight the pins, like in a color or something. But I believe what they're going for here is reset. You solder to this pin here. You see my little magnifying glass. RC, this wire. Con, this wire. Or leg of the chip. So easiest way to do that is get some 30 AWG, nothing thicker, or else you might rip a pad off the ribbon cable. 30 AWG, you line it up flush on this, you get some flux. I would pre-tin the legs, and just rest the wire on and press it down, and you're good to go. Now go ahead and do that if you've got an earlier revision. As for me, I'm gonna go back. I imagine most of us too are going to be using these later revisions here, like the CPU 08. That seems to be the only model I find in the Funtastic, the colored consoles. And for these ones, I think these, if you're going to be spending all this money on an N64 digital kit, I figure you're going to spend a little bit more to get a fancy console. So I'm seeing 1 via here circled. So maybe I've got to do 2 legs of the chip. I want to pause the video and figure out what the hell they're going for with this diagram, and then we're going to do it. Okay, got it sorted, boys and grills here. Hook up, pour, reset, and pad connections from the flex cable to the PIF. Some late model consoles require a different connection to the pad. If your console looks like the images below, solder the pad to the via instead of pin 16. So, with mine here, I'm still going to be soldering the 2 legs of this chip. It's just one of them is going to go to a via instead of pin 16. So, let us see here. That's the via. Via Okay, so there's two variants. Okay, so no matter which revision, we're going to be soldering these two wires here. So I want to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll figure out which via we got to solder to after that. And if you've got an earlier model, the orientation, everything, the oscillator, the caps look everything like this, just go ahead and solder 3 wires to these 3 pins here. 1, 2, 3, you're good. So let's get that done. I'm going to solder these 2 wires and take it from there. Whoa. MTV zoom. Okay, so pin 2, I believe, 2 and 27, if my counting is correct. So I want to hit it with some of the slop, some of my sloppy ass flux. Get my mic out the way. I'm gonna clean my tip, turn my iron back on. Add just a nice little bead here. I don't want too much. There we go. It's nice and tinned up. Now if I was off camera, I would fully flip the orientation, but I'll make this work. Okay. Cool. Very nice. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll take some 30 AWG. And I'm not going to worry about soldering it to the ZIF cable right away. My only concern at the moment is soldering it to the legs here, so simple solution. I like to give stuff like this a bend, because we're just going to rest it flat. We got plenty of flux here to work with. Just give it a little dip in there. And rest it against the pin we just tinned up. There we go. And again, this is one of those things that's significantly easier to do off camera when I can get my face right up in there. Cool, so this really isn't going far. I'm going to give it some extra slack. I want to cut this in half. And I'm going to come in here. We'll flip it around. It's just me trying to save myself a headache for the sake of doing a good job over the sake of getting good footage. That's always number one. constant tightrope. Okay, cool. That's pretty good. And I'm going to pause the video, get in there with my eyes, and do it better. Okay, great, dude. So, the pin on the right here is going to go to reset. Pin on the left here is going to go to RC. As you can see, I folded them up onto this chip, and I used my tweezers. Gave it a tug to give it a nice right angle. So I want to come in here very delicately with my snips, my snippy boys. Okay. And then this one will curve around to RC. Okay, good. Didn't want those overlapping. It doesn't matter at all. I'm just being a weirdo. Okay. Give that a snip. I want to move this over for now. What I'm going to do is pre-tin these bad boys. I want to add little dabs here of my goo. You gotta have the goo. One day I might start liking the no clean. I'll find one that I don't hate, but it just doesn't flow right to me, man. Find it unpleasant. Okay, and the one that's going to the via is going to con, and con is right here. Beautiful. Now don't fuck around with these pads. This is not a, we joke around, we can be confident, but we're soldering to test pads on a delicate ribbon cable, and it's no joke. You just don't go tugging shit, and you'll be fine. Especially, the biggest importance is don't use thick wire. I'm using 30 AWG. This will get the job done. I wouldn't say you need to go with magnet wire, because that's just stupid. But 30 AWG. That is plenty, and anything thicker could cause some damage. Alright, so the one on the left goes to RC, correct. Now make sure it's connected, but don't go tugging it, don't go trying to lift it up by this, Now I'm going to go ahead, just get my wires nice and situated and flat. Okay. And it looks like it's got another line here. line right here to bend. So that is neat. So there we are. We got one connected. This top one goes to our reset. And it may seem like I'm doing all of this at a turtle's pace, you know? Be nice and slow. But I ain't running a factory here, man. I like to do it right. Not only do I like to do it right, but frankly, I like to do it. I like doing this shit. It's therapeutic. In a way, the whole soldering game. I'm a fan. I love me some games, but this is, you know, this is much more rewarding. And the last one is con. So for me, con is going to be this via right here underneath the chip here in the right hand corner. Just be aware there's other versions too, like this one here, where there's one via up there, and there's a straight 3, 4, 5, yeah. So keep in mind, if yours looks like this is the via you want. Mine looks like this. And just to reiterate, in case you're skipping around, if you've got an early model, just goes right here on this leg of the chip. So there you go, kids. I'm going to solder to this via right here. So let's do that. Numero 4. Find a X-Acto knife here. This might not be necessary. Usually there's some mask on these things. And I'm not coming in here rough. This isn't, you know, we're not brute forcing anything. This isn't Mr. Tough Guy hack shit up. With a knife kind of a thing. I'm just gently scraping at the via just in case there's solder resist on it. And if you don't have an X-Acto knife, you'll probably be fine. I've soldered to many things. Many of vias like this that have solder resist, that it just takes a bit of time. It takes a bit more finagling. So I'm just going to put it through the hole like this. Using my finger to keep it down, I'm going to give it a dab of goo. Come in here. I might end up burning some insulation. That's totally fine. I'll be very careful because I don't want to burn the plastic off the reset button. And as you can see, even with my little bit of scraping, I didn't scrape enough. So I'm going to add a bit more solder here. And just weasel it around. Okay. That's a good connection. I'm gonna fully give this, I'm gonna pull this the other direction. Okay. It's kind of bugging me. Okay. Coming in with my 99. I'm going to clean this up. Hopefully I get some of that burnt insulation off. That's driving me nuts. Okay, and I'm actually gonna... It's connected, but it could be better. Yeah. Nice and meaty. It's coming to con. Give it a snip. Ooh, there's like a little resistor there. Yeah, be mindful of that, gang. That might sneak up on you. I've got it on the big screen, but that little resistor is a little cutie pie. Okay, see what's next. All right, boys and girls, we are almost out of the woods. Once again, as you can see, very nice, very nice. As you can see, they were kind enough to give us these white lines to show us where to fold. It's the little things, guys. Little things. UltraHDMI was rad, but there's just a lot of really sweet touches with this mod kit that, you know, to the layman, to the end user who doesn't install it themselves or whatever, they would never give a shit or care or whatever. But to me, I find them quite nice, endearing, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, fine touches, dudes. The boys at Pixel Effects are watching this. Mwah. Yeah. Really like it. It's a little thing, but you know, goes a long way. So I'm not gonna fully I'm gonna crease it pretty good. That's the way it's going. Might as well crease it pretty good. Okay. Now, the next thing we're gonna be doing is taking this guy here. This guy. And this guy is gonna get soldered to I think this voltage regulator. Let's find out. I'm gonna check the guide. Okay, radical dudes. Super duper tubular. So here we are. I flipped the board around. Here's your multi-out right here. Cable folds. This is how your cables fold in here. Fold in to go above the multi-out. I'm gonna crease it a little bit more. Bada boom. And this guy, little floppy boy, off to the side. We're gonna bend that at like I suppose a 45-degree angle. Something like that. Yeah, that seems about right. Now, thank God, there's only one of these, because that's what that was my least favorite thing about the UltraHDMI, was that all of these connections were these pseudo wires coming from the flex cable, like the one-off kind of a deal. And I think these things fucking suck. I would much rather go test pad. Call me a noob, call me what you will, but I just don't like working with them, and that's that. End of sentence. End of story. Don't like them. So we're soldering this little guy to this leg right here, top leg. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna plenty flux it. And if you guys leave a comment in the description if you guys know a better way of applying, a big old tube of flux to something. I know the Q-tips, they aren't known for their precision with shit like this, and I always put it on more than I need. I spend more time than I should need to cleaning it up. So I am all ears. I am not by any means a pro that knows everything and is done learning because I'm the best or whatever. I'm always looking for new doodads and gadgets to make my life easier. Now I hope there's a test pad for this somewhere, just in case, people fuck this up. Seems like a good idea. Yeah, and if you guys are watching it, doesn't look like there is. I would highly recommend and request that they add a test pad. These are relatively easy to rip, and it'd be nice if somebody does, if you can just wire it up with, I'm assuming it'd have to be like 28 AWG or something, but whatever. Okay, we're gonna leave all this shit loose, and we're just gonna try to come in here. What is the way? We just gotta get it to that leg. Holy Lord. By far the hardest part. I'm gonna move the mic out of my face. I'm gonna get in there and get this done. sure a lot of you guys think I'm nuts for hating this so much, but I have a hard time with it. Try to angle it down. Okay. There we go. So not to the leg of the chip, it seems to work quite a bit better. Let's show the picture. As you can see, they put it right here on like the flat like pad area of it. So I want to examine my shit. Okay, mine can be a little bit better. I want to do it off cam and show you what's up. Okay. So that's on there. It's on there pretty damn good. You just got to be careful too once you, even if you solder this on good and proper connection, make one wrong tug there. Snap this guy, and yeah, I don't know. I guess you're gonna be scraping some traces on a flex cable, which frankly I don't even know how to do. have to get Voltar on the horn for that one. You could probably, I don't know. I want to know in the comments like what happened, because that's going to happen. This is going to snap on somebody, putting it back together. So we should figure out what to do in that scenario. Leave a comment if you've got an idea. I'm sure we'll be able to see once we put this back together what this trace goes to here. I don't know if it's on camera. That trace, that's the power trace. So wherever that goes, it goes thick, and then does it get skinnier? I don't know. We can boop around with a multimeter and see what the fuck is up, and in the event that breaks, just run a wire to the main PCB most likely. But for now, I think that's all the soldering we gotta do. Now it's just a matter of piecing this bad boy back together. And that's what I intend to do, folks, so bear with me as I figure that out. Okay, next step, we are going to be installing this foam over our multi-out connectors. Now, it says in the instructions, if you are using a no-cut solution, which I am doing, you need to cut this foam piece in half, and it says in terms of height. So in terms of height, that would be slice it down the middle here, use the foam, stick it to the back. That makes sense. So I'm gonna take my X-Acto knife, and if I don't cut my finger off, then we should be pretty good. Seems like half to me. Let's take the double-sided tape off. This guy back in the picture here. We'll take a Q-tip, just go over the general area, as I do use that sticky, icky of the fluxes. So there we go. Leave a comment in the description below if you think it'd be funny if I bought something really expensive and did like a really expensive mod, something on some like precious, like a Neo Geo AES, and like the whole time I'm eating pizza and just working on it with like pizza grease on my hands. Let me know. Let me know if you're any good troll, subtle behind the scenes troll video that we could pull off would be choice. I think that would be pretty funny. All right, let's move it on to the next one. Okay, the next steps here says if you have a PAL console, throw it in the trash, or bridge these pads if you actually want to use it. Carry on. Okay, we're rounding up to the end here, gang. So I've already got my my board in, as well as the no-cut laser bear boy on top of that. If you went the cut method, you would install the metal shielding on the bottom and then the N64 board, and you would go from there. However, this way it goes, we already did it, but we'll disassemble. It's nice and easy. It goes the spacer that comes with the laser bear kit goes in here. And apparently, according to the instructions, and it does make sense, these guys gotta go, unfortunately. So no N64DD for us. I mean, we just won't be able to lock it in. Those have to go, and it makes sense because there's not going to be metal shielding, so the console gets turned upside down. Those go, short some shit out. Not very good. So I think that's what they're going for there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems nothing but logical to me. Okay, so we got the spacer. Board goes on top. On top of that, we shall put this guy. Bada bing. Okay, so I've put my board back in, and this cable here is the RGB cable. I don't really get it. The instructions on the site right now are saying just put it aside and skim through the whole guide, and it never mentions plugging it in. This is going to, let's get in a little tighter here. So this is the RGB cable. This is gonna bend around and plug into this guy at some point. This guy right here. For now, back it out a little bit. I'm just gonna follow their guide to a T at this point. So where are the pins? 1 second. The pins are on the right side, so the black side needs to go against, needs to fold like this. So here are the pins. Those need to be on this side, it seems. Unless I'm going crazy. So we're going to pull up these tabs. Yeah, that's right. So just be careful. I don't want to rip any very delicate wires. Plug this guy in. Okay. It's not perfect. Aha. As if the ZIF connector needed to come up just a little bit more. Okay. Very nice. Very beautiful. Well, alright, gang. That's all set up here. I guess it just kind of hangs out loosely like this. If you can see this flex here, don't think you do any crazier folds. This all seems pretty... I ain't touching it. Now, I don't know why the instructions, hopefully someone can clarify, like in the instructions, it talks about the RGB flex, about putting it aside, and they never come back to it, as in okay, now plug it in. So hopefully, I don't know, forward them the message, see what's going on there, unless I'm like a total goober and I'm missing out on something. But at this point, we're going to test it, and we're going to make sure we have no shorts by running a few, plugging in a cartridge, jumper pack, controller, mini HDMI cable, and poking around with our multimeter. I just want to say one thing real quick about the guide that we're going to completely skip over. Let's see, the desktop here. There is a section, this clock control optional, and it allows for switching between PAL and NTSC frequencies. It might have some other features. Maybe there's some features that some of you guys can explain to me, and maybe why it's something you would be interested in. But as for me, I'm a North American boy, and I have no interest in switching to PAL for any reason whatsoever. So it seems simple enough. You lift a pin, you bridge a jumper, yada yada yada. Not too bad, but you know, there's only so many moments in a fucking lifetime, and that's something I don't see myself ever wanting to use. So yeah, we're going to run these tests right here. Yeah, we're gonna do all of this and make sure we don't have a short. Highly recommend you do it. Bust that multimeter out. So we're going to install a game cart, a jumper pack, controller and controller port 1, and mini HDMI cable. And we're going to test 3.3 volts and grounds with continuity. So let's do that. Wellity. Okay, so it's time to do the continuity test here. So I have my expansion pack plugged in. If you have a jumper pack, make sure it's the right orientation. I've had to blow the console by doing this the wrong way. If you try turning it on, it's not the end of the world if you unplug the power supply. For a while, it'll eventually, I think it's got a self-healing fuse, it'll start working again. But you can tell by, if you look, see, that's just a flat sheet, 2 large contacts, and those are some pins here. If you look here, the top one has the regular pins. So that's how you can tell. Hope that makes sense. I've got a controller in there. And what else we got? Oh, we need a cartridge. Cartridge in. And I've got a mini HDMI cable coming out the back there. So multimeter set to continuity. It's the old beepy boy. Should beep around. So we are testing to make sure that 3.3 volts isn't shorted to ground. So I'll touch my black to ground. Big metal slab over here. Nowhere specific on it. And in this row here, let's get in a little bit closer. Whoa, that's too close. That'll do. So, it's this area here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the on the left, and the second one. Beautiful. Yeah, if you get a beep there, you got to go back over your work because you got a short somewhere. And turning this fucker on will probably not end well for you. So I'm going to go set everything up over there, and we are going to make sure we get video when we fire this bad boy up. Well, all right. As you can see, everything's working. The menu was working. Audio, video, all looked great. And we're going to have to get more footage of that. Let me know if you guys want to see some sort of N64Digital marathon live stream, because that'd be pretty neat. I'd love to play me some Diddy Kong Racing, you know? And I've got no qualms with emulation, but if I can be a purist, I will be when I can. Only exceptions are when there's really dope fan-made mods. So in case I'm not clear enough here, everything's working. The instructions just pretty much say, leave this aside, and then they never come back to it. So the instructions are good. Don't take this as me just fucking busting their balls and nitpicking one thing, but I think that might be an oversight. Hopefully they get around to patching that up. But yeah, this is kind of tricky. I've already lifted the ZIF connectors up. Just gotta kind of loop around here. Tweezers. Aren't totally helping, but I think I'd be in a much worse spot without them. see. Fuck's sake, dude. Okay. Let's try a bend right here. You know what? I'm doing this shit off camera. This sucks. I'll show you once it's plugged in. Well, there she is, ladies and gentlemen. In all of her glory. This is plugged in. Kind of a bitch, but once you get the finagle of it, it's not too bad. You might feel tempted to smash down on these ribbon cables. Highly wouldn't recommend that. There's only really one last thing to do here. So you see this guy? See how it's got those test pads we love so much. This goes over it. And under certain circumstances, yada yada yada, I think you might be able to catch my drift. So I'm gonna take a big old slab of Captain tape. Instead of insulating the nice, fancy, glorious flex cable, we're just going to insulate the back of this. Honestly, that should be plenty. I'm going to give it one more strip. All the way up to the corner here. We got this nice, expensive HDMI kit for a very lovely system, and last thing we want to do is sit down to play a game and have this thing be fucking up and have to take it apart and do what's way less fun than installing something like this is troubleshooting something like this. One I enjoy, one I do not. And that's it, dudes. Now it's time to put it together. You put it together the opposite way that you took it apart. Oh my god. Oh my god, what happened? Oh my god. Oh my god, everything's fine. Everything's fine. That got scary. Okay, just real quick, I want to go ahead and just mention to be careful. You kind of do want one good crease there. Just be real careful. I lined everything up based around this area, but just be very mindful of this cable. So I kind of had a snag there. I got a little spooky, not gonna lie. Got a little freaked out, but now everything seems hunky-dory. So I'm just going to button it up, and that'll be that. Alright. I'm putting my final touch on this. I went ahead, I plugged in that, the RGB DAC, and I haven't tested it, but the console's still working with it plugged in, so all's well that ends well. Highly recommend you print one of these or buy one of these from Laser Bear. This is a region-free cartridge slot. Much more elegant solution than hacking this up. And for those of you who are not aware of how region protection worked on these consoles, it is simply a matter of different shapes. Like, see those little tabs there? Boom, boom, where my thumb is? That will block out other cartridges from plugging in. They did it on N64, similar on Super Nintendo. For the Super Famicom, you actually need to slice up the shell for a North American cartridge to fit, which is a bit of a bitch. Very nice. And you know what? While I got this open, I want to go ahead and test, because I just printed some of these out myself in black. So let me see if mine fit. And as you can see, my 3D printing skills, whatever you call them, are not quite there. Unless this is some kind of a support or something. I don't know. I don't freaking know. Let's see. Yeah, that's weird. It's freaking weird. Bottoms of mine look all goofy. But let's see. Does it fit too? Seems to fit. Probably use some better file. Maybe I just got a goofy file. Well, that's that. I'm gonna use the bad boy, the Laser Bear one here. So let's see. Let's make sure. Seems good to me. And we're gonna take this guy here and screw it in. Yeah, there's no way this is the same file, right? This is not at all the same thing. What the heck? What the H? Region free cart slot, baby. That's what's up. Japanese, American. There we go. And I ain't fucking with no PAL games. I know it's Pride Month, but it's not for me. Look at that. Look at this fucking beauty right there. We got our HDMI port. This thing's beautiful, man. I've been very, since I've been aware of the Ultra HDMI for some time. It was one of the first solutions of this sort. I believe second to what's it called, the high def NES. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I always kind of wanted it, but at the time I just wasn't, I was a bit more of a bum that was like, oh, that's neat, but that's out of my price range. I'm buying all sorts of crap like this, and I kind of think of it like kind of like stocks, you know, stuff like this will for the most part keep its value until all of us nerds die off. So it's not really a risky investment, you know. It's not. I think the stuff that more traditionally ladies like, you know, like makeup and stuff like that, stuff that will cost a lot and immediately have zero value. I like spending my money on stuff that holds its value. So I'm gonna get this screwed up, and let's do a round of Diddy Kong or something. Would you look at that? I'm updating the firmware over Wi-Fi. I didn't get this on camera, but it's super nice now that for setting up Wi-Fi. I've honestly never done it on the PS1Digital or my DCDigital, but this one, it just allows you to scan a QR code and then go on your phone and put in your Wi-Fi password from your browser on your phone, and then bada bing bada boom, you're connected to Wi-Fi on your N64. That's pretty sweet. Very nice feature. Firmware update acquired. So that's it, dudes. That is the N64Digital installation. Here's a little bit of GoldenEye gameplay for you. Got the nice, look at that screen too. If you waited, I'm proud of you. If you were there with me in the muck of it, trying to get one of these when the website was crashing, that was insane, dudes, and I feel for you if you didn't get it. I had it in my cart many a times, and then the website would crash, so I got lucky. I hope you got lucky too, and hopefully in the future it's not that much of a shit show. But it's a great product. I'm already loving it, and I hope you guys do too. So leave me a like on the video if you appreciate the the effort going into this. I know it's not super, to the point. I like to do it raw. I like to do it dirty, but I still like to come in here and cut it up and present it in what I believe a decent way. So a like's appreciated. Dislike, if you don't like what I do, that's fine as well. But much love, and enjoy shooting a couple fellas here until we hit the outro.